Sometimes the scariest thing isn't the darkness, it's who walks inside. And that fear will follow you long after the lights go out.
Pulling the graveyard shift at the gas station wasn't exactly a career goal. It's not the kind of thing you lead with in conversation, but it kept my head above water and the schedule worked. Mostly the nights were dead air. It was just me, the low-frequency drone of the reach-in freezers, and the occasional traveler drifting in for a caffeine fix or a pack of smokes. At the start, the isolation felt like a gift. There's a strange serenity in the stillness of the 2 a.m. world, a sense that time has stopped for everyone else while you're still moving. But that peace shattered when he started appearing. It was a bleak Sunday night when I first caught his shadow. I was stationed behind the glass, lost in the mindless rhythm of the job, squaring up the chip bags and buffing the counter, when the bell chimed. At first, he was just another face in the blur of the night. He was lanky, unkempt, draped in a heavy, grease-stained parka that had definitely seen better decades. His hair was a chaotic nest, and his eyes had this frantic, electric quality to them. But in this line of work, strange is just the baseline. I didn't think twice. He didn't offer a greeting, didn't even glance my way. He just cut a path straight to the back of the shop, toward the wall of beverage coolers. I went back to my tasks, assuming he'd grab a soda and be gone in 60 seconds like everyone else. He didn't. He just froze in front of the glass, eyes locked on the rows of bottles. No movement, no reaching for a handle, just a dead, heavy stare. I looked up, a cold spark of nerves flickering in my chest. "Finding everything okay?" I called out, forcing my voice to stay level. Silence. He didn't flinch. He didn't even acknowledge that a human being had spoken to him. He stood there with his back turned, his head tilted at this unnatural angle, like he was listening to a frequency I couldn't hear. I tried to dismiss it. Maybe he was just high, or one of those people paralyzed by too many choices. But as the minutes dragged on, the silence turned sour. It's a gas station, not a museum. Grab a drink and get out. Finally, after what felt like an hour of held breath, he pivoted and shuffled to the register with a single bottle of water. As he set it down, our eyes locked, and I finally got a clear look at him. Something was fundamentally wrong. His eyes were wide, way too wide, and he didn't blink once. Under the harsh, buzzing fluorescent lights, his skin looked like gray parchment, and a thin, sickly grin was stretched across his face. I forced a customer service mask into place. "That's $2.20, I muttered. He didn't say a word. He just kept that unblinking gaze on me before digging into his pocket and dropping a handful of grime-coated coins and a torn bill on the counter. I slid the receipt toward him. He ignored it, turned on his heel, and vanished into the dark. I watched him melt into the shadows of the parking lot until the automatic doors hissed shut. The dread stayed behind, clinging to me, but I brushed it off. A weird encounter, sure, but nothing to lose sleep over. Then came the next night. He returned at the exact same hour, just as the clock struck 1:15. I was in the storage nook when the door chime cut through the silence. I stepped out, expecting a long-haul driver or someone passing through toward Blackwood Forest. But it was him. Same ragged parka, same bird nest hair, same vacant expression. He didn't look at me. He didn't say a word. He marched straight to the back, to those same coolers exactly like the night before. I watched him from the register, my stomach turning into a tight knot. This time, he didn't even pretend to look at the labels. He just stood there, staring through the glass at nothing at all. Not moving, not touching. Just existing in that space like a glitch in the dark. My fingers drummed a frantic, uneven beat on the laminate counter. "Can I help you find something?" I called out, my voice cracking slightly. I was praying the sound would break whatever trance held him. Nothing. No flinch, no turn of the head. I shifted my gaze to the security monitors. The setup was bottom tier, just two grainy, low-res cameras covering the registers and the pumps. but knowing they were recording felt like a thin shield against the growing cold in the room. After a few more agonizing minutes of stillness, he finally snatched a bottle of water, just like the night before, and drifted toward the front. That same hollow expression, that same fixed, unblinking stare. As he extended his hand with the cash, I noticed his fingers were trembling, his nails caked with dark, wet earth, as if he'd been clawing at the ground. I forced a jagged smile and slid his change across the wood. "Have a good one," I muttered. Again, total silence. He pivoted and retreated into the darkness. I tracked him through the glass, waiting for the familiar roar of an engine or the flash of brake lights. Nothing but the wind. That's when the realization hit me like a physical blow. I hadn't seen a car either time. He wasn't driving. He was coming out of the woods on foot. By the third night, my nerves were frayed to the breaking point. When he appeared just after 12:30 a.m., the air in the shop curdled. This wasn't a traveler. This wasn't a weirdo. This was something deliberate, something predatory. This time, he bypassed the coolers entirely. Instead, he began to drift through the aisles, his boots making a slow, rhythmic scuff thud on the linoleum. He didn't touch the merchandise. He didn't even look at the shelves. He just paced in a slow, tightening circle around the center of the store. My heart hammered against my ribs, a trapped bird in a cage. What was he doing? Every few seconds his head would snap toward me, those wide, electric eyes locking onto mine while that thin, porcelain smile stayed pinned to his face. I tried to look busy, fumbling with the shift change paperwork, but the weight of his gaze was a physical pressure on my skin. When he finally approached the counter, his hands were empty. He just stood there, breathing softly. I swallowed hard, my throat feeling like it was lined with sandpaper. Can I help you with something?" Then, for the first time, he broke the silence. "I've been watching you." His voice was a dry, rasping crawl, like dead leaves skittering over pavement. My stomach plummeted. Every survival instinct I owned was screaming at me to run, to lock myself in the office, to disappear. I let out a sharp, nervous breath that was supposed to be a laugh. That's not really something you should say to a stranger." His smile widened, pulling the skin tight over his cheekbones, but his eyes remained dead. "I've been watching you every night." The blood drained from my limbs, leaving me cold and weak. My mind scrambled for a way out, a way to end this. "I think you need to leave," I said, my voice trembling despite my best efforts. "Now." He didn't budge. He just stood there, staring through me with those unblinking orbs. The tension in the store became suffocating, the hum of the lights growing deafening in the silence. "I'm calling the deputies," I warned, reaching for the heavy cordless phone tucked under the register. The moment my hand gripped the plastic, he turned and walked out, melting back into the midnight fog without a sound. I didn't see him for the next few shifts, but the peace was gone. I spent every second checking the monitors, glancing at the door, waiting for the chime to signal his return. Then, on the fifth night, he reappeared. I was stocking cigarettes when I saw his silhouette emerge from the tree line at the edge of the lot. He didn't come inside. He just stood directly under the flickering amber glow of the gas canopy, staring through the glass doors. My heart surged into my throat. He was a statue, a shadow carved out of the night, perfectly motionless. I grabbed the phone and punched in 911, my hands shaking so violently I nearly dropped it. I stayed on the line with the operator, whispering my location, my eyes never leaving that figure outside. Minutes stretched into an eternity. He never moved. He never blinked. He just watched. The dread in my chest was a crushing weight, making it hard to draw air. Finally, the blue and red strobe of a cruiser tore through the darkness, tires crunching on the gravel. The deputy stepped out, unholstering his high-beam flashlight and sweeping it toward the man. He stood still. He was arrested, and as the officer was taking him to his car, the man turned to me and started shouting, "I'll come visit you again. Wait for me impatiently." The deputy sheriff assured me that he was just a homeless guy who wouldn't do anything wrong, but I didn't believe him. I turned in my keys the next morning and never went back there again.